Yeah, it's showing a little bit of that kind of.
Don't know if I should try and.
We are live and direct. Oh yeah, I think you got some bad internet. So here we go, guys. We're tuning in here live. Captain Jake is all the way in Sweden.
Sweden,
Uh,
snowing.
Sweden, snowing in Sweden.
Heavy.
Sweet Sweden. Are you? Is it snowing there already? We had a little bit of snow here in Canada.
Yeah, heavy snow, man. Like,
You've been watching the World Cup or what?
yeah. So something weird happened. I got the video coming up twice. It's putting me off. But yeah, I've been watching the World Cup. Well, actually, not while I'm here. I made a sacrifice not watching it, but I was watching it a bit. England won. That was good.
Yeah, Canada lost 1-0 to
Belgium,
but they played amazing. I saw a bit of it when I was at the gym. I made sure I lined up my gym time with my treadmill time so I could be on the treadmill and watching the game. And it was really good. And I was born in Brazil, so Brazil plays today. I don't even know what time. I haven't really been that plugged in, but I like World Cup. It's really exciting for me. The spirit of the World Cup is really what captures me. I mean, I'm not a huge sports guy myself. I'm not oh my gosh, Sunday Night Football or, this type of thing. I don't really cater my day to sports like a lot of dudes do, which is cool. But I do like the World Cup because I like the spirit of everybody coming together. The whole world is there. Everybody's watching. I feel like it kind of unifies us, especially in, these times of turbulence and excess desire, which is what we're talking about today. And it's funny, I was just reading this morning because I'm reading Canto 1 of the book Srimad Bhagavatam. So for those who don't know or never heard of the Srimad Bhagavatam, it's a book originally written in Sanskrit by a holy man named Vyasadeva. Am I saying that right? Vasudeva?
No, yeah, Vyasadeva. I don't know.
Vyasadeva, yeah. And anyways, it's a book of knowledge, essentially a book of wisdom. And our spiritual master in the Hare Krishna order, Srila Prabhupada, is giving his purports, his explanations on the verses. And just the one that I read this morning, he was talking about war and wars fought on principles, and how the warriors back in the day had principles you wouldn't kill someone in their sleep, you wouldn't kill women and children, you wouldn't kill someone if they surrender, right? There's all these rules that they would follow to actually have some standard of war. And unlike today and back then, wars were fought for much different reasons than they are today. Essentially, all the wars today, even though they tell us we're fighting for democracy or we're spreading, they're really not. It's just about oil and resources, or it's about money and power, and it's about all these material desires. And at the worst case scenario, when we let desire run our life in the wrong direction, we end up in the worst case scenarios. We end up in horrible situations, addictions, bankruptcies, divorces, mental health. All of these things are skyrocketing, and many people don't realize at an unconscious level it's being driven by unchecked or misuse of desire. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to properly utilize desire, not to run from it, not to be desire, I have desire, it's bad. Desire is actually a gift when it's used properly. Know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying? All right, man, let's play our intro song and then we'll get into it.
Yeah.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain.
Yeah, semi-retention soldiers, my S3X Alchemy brothers. Just want to give you a quick announcement for those watching live or those watching the recording. We are running a Black Friday sale right now on the program, Become a Sexual Alchemist. You can get the link in the descriptions on the YouTube channel. use the code. It's right on the sales page. When you go to register, the registration page, it'll give you the code 70% off. It's the best time in the entire year from a financial perspective to register for the course. We've had a few guys already take advantage of that. So if you've been thinking about, man, I really want to get into these S3X techniques, I want to transmute my desire, I want to get the benefits of semen retention, I want to be able to last as long as I want with my partner, I want to be a better lover, better father, or I want to ultimately reach higher spiritual consciousness, then the transmutation of your S3X energy is a must. There's no getting around it, especially for guys who are serious about their spiritual path. There's no getting around it. If you're serious about up-leveling any area of your life, you know, I've been reading The Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill, and I just got to my favorite chapter, the chapter on sex transmutation. And once again, you know, it's another reminder. He's like, no man will ever accomplish anything greater than animal living, other than survival, unless he knows how to transmute or he can control his sexual desire. So right now, if you're thinking, man, I need this, I'm addicted to porn, I'm addicted to masturbation. You know what's a symptom of untransmuted desire? So many thoughts, so many desires. I want to do this. Now I want to do that. Now I want to do this. Now I want to do that. Right? That was like, you know, pretty much my whole life up to like, you know, the last few years when I really took these practices serious. I know me and you have very similar stories, right? Get things
up until
started.
I did this training, man, like with you, really. I'm only just starting to be able to just focus on, commit to one thing without so many desires.
Yeah, if you find in your life, if you do a check-in with your life right now and you're like, yeah, I can't stay committed to anything. Like I kind of start things and then change things, then I start things, then I change things. That is a sign of unchecked desire. That is a sign that your energy is dispersed, that your conditioning has led you to be essentially whimsical in life. And when I say whimsical, meaning you have no plan, right? You have no definite goals. You don't have faith, so you never see it right through. I mean, I can't really just like, I'm trying to give it to you at the most like, you know, like rawest form so that you really understand how important this is. So right now we're running a Black Friday sale for the next couple days. This is your opportunity. The course normally runs at $1,000. You can get it at $300. There's even payment plans. I mean, you could totally, like, it's no excuse. You can get into the program right now, and now is your chance. So I see a couple questions. Maybe we should start with that one from Mega Batman. That's an awesome name, by the way. Mega Batman.
Not just Batman, Mega Batman.
Mega Batman. What is a sex alchemist? Yeah, okay, so that's a really great question. A sex alchemist is someone who, so think of what alchemy is in its traditional sense. So the art of alchemy or the science of alchemy was originally men who wanted to turn metal into gold. They were figuring out, how can I turn any metal into a precious metal, which was gold at the time. And so alchemy, sexual alchemy, is how do we turn our desire, which is what we're talking about today, our sexual desire, from a raw sexual expression, which generally leads men in this age to watching pornography or masturbation, to higher outlets. So higher outlets is, first of all, get real sex, get a woman, get a partner, you know, have real sex. Only put that energy when you're with somebody, and stay away from porn and masturbation. It's killing your mind. It's killing your life. It's killing your life force. And then even higher than that, how do I transmute desire? Like in the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill puts it in the context of accumulating riches. How do I have complete desire into up-leveling my finances? So if you want more finances in your life, you want to grow a business, you want to excel in your career, maybe you want to have influence in your community, all of that can be achieved. Napoleon Hill was talking about in the chapter of sex transmutation that no speaker, no orator, no musician, no architect, no artist their work will never be attractive without the infusion of sex desire within it. that quality of attraction is literally coming from our sexual desire. And then the highest transmutation, the highest alchemization of it is a completely spiritual desire, where we desire to love God, where we want to know God, where we want union with God, either as a friend, as a parent, as a master, like servant and master, or as an object of conjugal love, which is the highest expression of devotion or love that we can have for God. And that is the absolute transmutation of that sexual desire. So we talk about these high-level mystics, these high-level yogis, these holy men who have completely transcended their lower desires into spiritual desires. And of course, they live blissfully. They accumulate all types of different types of powers and all these kind of mystical things. But it's funny because all of that is available, but their focus is on love.
Yeah.
And that's the path of a sexual alchemist. It's the path from lust to love.
But it's where you use the elements, right? Like you understand what elements you have, you engage with them and use them. Like you say, turning metal to gold. You're aware you have metal, and you're like using that. Can't just do it by avoiding your sexual energy, your sex desire, and thinking, oh, I'll just transcend. This is the thing I learned over the years. I was just trying to ignore it, and not only was it was not working, and it was feeling like frustration. I also didn't have enough power because I wasn't using that energy for anything else. So it's like, that's such a powerful energy can be used in your life. But if you just push it down, then you're just going to be frustrated and kind of weak.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a great point. So it's like the difference between repression and transmutation, right? The difference between suppression and alchemization. So what happens is, when guys get onto the spiritual path and they recognize that pornography and masturbation and their inability to commit and their kind of whimsical way of living is really the problem, we realize that through spiritual teachings, or by getting around even materially successful people, you recognize, like, okay, it's focus. It's longevity. You have to stay committed to something. Napoleon Hill talks about it took him 25 years of persistence, of naysayers, of people who thought he was crazy, to fulfill of writing Think and Grow Rich, or the laws of success in his philosophy. He was given that task. That desire was implanted in by the famous Andrew Carnegie, who was the steel giant, who said to him, the world needs to know this. And he gave him this task. It took him 25 years of persistence and sacrifice to finally become, everything that he was sort of meant to be, and to fulfill his destiny. Most of us can't do something for more than 3 months before we're like moving on to something else, right? Yeah. You ask someone, what does your life look like 5 years from now? What does your life look like 20 years from now? 99.9% of people right now have no freaking clue. They have no idea. They've never even thought ahead. And that is exactly the gift of being a human. So, first of all, I just want to answer the question. Is it $300 a month for the program? No, it's a one-time investment. It's $300 right now. Done. You pay $300, you get lifetime access to the course, and you get into a WhatsApp group with myself and Captain Jake, who are going to support you, plus along the rest of the other guys who are practicing with us. And so the question is, so avoid sexual energy is bad, like no fappish. It's not that it's bad. It's just that you can't avoid it. It's like saying, can you avoid breathing and still want to live your life? No, you can't avoid desire. Desire is nothing to be avoided. It is part of life. Desire is what makes us get up in the morning. It what makes, kind of economies run. It what makes people build homes. It what makes people build businesses. And ultimately, desire is what makes people grow consciously, because you have to have a desire for something so that you have fuel for action towards it. Some people desire to be healthy. Some people desire to be in a relationship. Some people desire riches. Some people desire God. Some people desire anything and everything. There's close to 8 billion of us on the planet. Essentially, there's 8 billion expressions of desire.
But I'm
So
so
go
interested
ahead.
in what you say. Sorry about how, yeah, you can use this, you can transmute your sexual energy, your desire, and use it, because there's some schools of thought that kind of just say stop desire, just renounce things. But like, to me, it doesn't seem to make sense. It doesn't seem to work, because, as you said, it's a natural thing. So why not use it in a positive way rather than just ignore it?
Yeah, absolutely. So desire, when you hear things like become desireless, what it's really saying is become desireless for material sense gratification
Mm.
or for lower activities. For anything, we could just put it in a very simple way in today's language. Desire for shit that takes your life into a bad direction. All right.
Yeah, it
So
takes your energy, drains your energy
it drains
away.
your energy. Yeah, it takes your energy away. You can look at it as simple as that. Anything that's taking your energy. So you desire, for example, we talk about sex desire. Okay, so as a man, we desire sex. Okay. Does that desire lead you to jerking off and watching pornography by yourself? Because if that's what that desire is leading you to do, that is taking away from your energy in your life. It's dulling your mind. It's taking away from your motivation. So that is a negative way of using desire. Now, if the same desire for sex takes you to a higher path where you get into a relationship, you get committed, you get married, and that desire turns into kids, and that desire turns into a loving household, and that desire will transmute itself into other expressions. If that same desire, we talk about Kanye West, right,
Mm.
as a great example. Who's the rapper right now? I just posted about him, Joey Badass. I don't know his music,
Mm-mm.
but right.
Mm.
So Joey Badass talks about how he doesn't ejaculate because he
Mm.
doesn't want to drain his life force. And now he's one of the, I think he was just at the BET Awards and all this type
Mm.
of stuff, right? So look at all these artists. 50 Cent talks about he takes celibacy breaks where he
Mm.
won't have any sex or anything for periods of time to use his desire into his music, right?
Yeah.
Kanye West talked about that, about he's like, he was asked one time, what makes you so successful? And he said, I think it's my sex and porn addiction. Right? Like, you know what I mean? He's like, it's because I just take all of that, and instead of going and jerking off to porn and all this stuff, he goes into the studio and he bangs out some hot beats that we're all attracted to. And why are we
Yes.
attracted to it? Is because it's infused with his creative energy, and desire and creativity go hand in hand. That's why you actually, if you want to be successful, if you want to be above status quo in any aspect of life, whether you're an artist, an architect, a spiritualist, an industrialist, it doesn't matter what it is that you want. If you really want it, you have to create white hot, passionate desire for it. You actually have to become obsessed with it. So there's obsession in the negative way. I'm obsessed with laziness. I'm obsessed with sleeping. I'm obsessed with eating. I'm obsessed with pornography.
Mm.
That's obsession leading you to bad results, ill health, disease, low energy. When you become so obsessed with your success, like if you're a business owner and you are so obsessed, you're like, I'm going to make this business successful. It's all that occupies your mind. Now you're supercharging your brain with high vibrational thoughts, because your brain will only pick up higher vibrational frequency. Think of like an airplane. If you're flying an airplane and you're in the hills and mountains, it's going to be a real rough ride. So what you have to do is, to get across that mountain range, you have to take your plane to higher levels than the mountains itself, higher than the obstacles. Well,
Yeah.
the obstacles are material existence. The obsession for food, sex, and survival. This is what occupies most people's brains. Some sort of fear or lack-based mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to get the next good deal? Am I going to get the next, it's all survival. It's all scarcity. To access creative power and thought, higher planes of existence, you have to charge your brain with energy. And when you charge it with sexual energy, because there's 10 different stimulants that you can get that are going to lift you above the obstacles of life. 8 of them are healthy, 2 of them are unhealthy. The 2 that are unhealthy are drugs, alcohol, and fear. And that's 95% of people are stimulating themselves with those 2 things. They are not above animal consciousness. They are not tapped into higher awareness. The sixth sense, or the intuitive faculty, opens up when our brains become stimulated with higher, with stimulated that it takes our thought frequencies to a higher level, and we can now see above just surviving and just our bodily pleasures, and we can see above the mountain range. So now we're our perception is above the mountains, and we can see easily how to get to the other side. So what are those stimulants? Well, there's 8 in total. We'll just talk about a couple here. The highest one is sex desire. Nothing stimulates us more to higher frequencies. The second one, which is very close, and you might even be able to interchange them, is love. Genuine love. Like, think of a parent who so loves their child that they're willing to do anything for that child. They're willing to work hard. They're willing to, think about fathers who sacrifice so much. Maybe they're working 20 hours a day so that they can provide because they have love. It's not the same love as a feminine love. We shouldn't mistake the two. The 2 expressions between masculine and feminine love are very different. The other ones are good association. When you associate with someone who's vibrating higher than you, naturally your mind becomes stimulated in that way if you allow it, and you also get stimulated in that way. So good discussion. This is called the mastermind effect. That's why you want to be very conscious about who you're hanging out with. Because whoever you're hanging out with, whether you recognize it or not, will subtly lead you to their vibrations. So you only want to hang out with high vibrational people. Yes, what's going on? I like the airplane analogy. Yes, always smoother at higher flight levels. And if you guys don't know Emmanuel, or we know him as Namarita, he's a captain. He flies planes for a living, so he knows for sure. He's confirming that analogy. Nice to see you.
Thought it was a metaphor, but he was just literally saying, "Yeah, that's how airplanes are."
yeah. He's like, no, that's literally how it works. Yeah. And so there's a Christian preacher, Joel Osteen. He gives this example of the eagle is flying sometimes at the same level as the crows. And the crows start to bother the eagle, start to nitpick at him, right? Like the eagle. Well, the eagle doesn't fight the crows or doesn't spend time trying to convince the crow to be an eagle. The eagle, because of its higher intelligence, because of its higher capabilities, just simply elevates its flight. It goes to a higher plane of flight where there's barely anyone around. And up there, the eagle, first of all, has a higher perception. He can see all the crows fighting it out for scraps. And then he can see the good catch.
Yeah.
So you want to be like the eagle. You want to be like the plane who can fly high and stay above the nonsense. Stop fighting it out for scraps. That's what most of the world is doing. Fighting it out for scraps, the big businessmen are creating businesses, and the rest of the world are like trying to fight it out for jobs and minimum wage and fighting for minimum wage. We want, the government, what a slap gave them. I think it was a 5-cent increase or something like this. It was like, here's 5 cents, here's your increase of wages, right? Like, if that's not a slap in the face, the point is this, is that when you fight for scraps, you get scraps, or you get on the train of an alchemist who learns to fly above that nonsense and gets into the creative plane of existence. So desire, the idea of becoming desireless, is becoming desireless or losing the taste for anything that's destructive in your life. So what you can do, what you can do right now is take 30 seconds and write down, and if you're not in a place to write something down, just contemplate, what am I doing, or what am I still desiring that I know my higher intelligence is telling me that's real stupid, you know? There's like nothing beneficial about this. This is actually destroying your life. You got some examples?
No, just things the mind comes up with, you know, things you get hung up on that, you know, it's just not productive, not positive, but sometimes you just can't let it go. It's like, but you know, deep down, you're like, you know, I'm deciding this. Like, why am I dwelling here? You know?
Yeah. And here's the thing. You can't, it's very difficult just to give up a lower desire until you catch a higher one.
Yeah.
That's why the idea of just becoming desireless and trying to just suppress your desire is pretty much ridiculous. Napoleon Hill gives the example of you can stop a river for only a certain amount of time, but eventually it's going to bust through and find its way to the ocean, right? It's going to find expression. Desire is like that. Desire will eventually find expression. So unless you're giving yourself all kinds of positive expressions throughout your day, then you will find negative desires. You know, I learned something interesting for everybody who's out there who's still addicted to masturbation. Do you know that chimpanzees only masturbate when in captivity? I learned this. Interesting. So we're not, you know, from a biological perspective, we're not far off from a chimp. Hopefully we've developed higher consciousness, but maybe some of us haven't. And I could honestly, like, as I'm talking to so many men around the world, I was talking to a young guy yesterday, and he said he was doing really well until the lockdowns came, the pandemic lockdowns. And then he said he just spiraled downwards into like this real dark side, like drugs, like, and I'm not talking just a little weed, like hard drugs, alcohol, masturbation every day. And he says before the lockdown, he wasn't like that, but now he's like that, and he's having a hard time getting himself out of that. Because we are meant to be free physically, yes, but emotionally, spiritually, freedom is our natural state. That's why we all desire it. If you feel like you've got all these negative desires, I want you to contemplate the idea that there's some part of you that isn't expressing itself freely. And that's why you're taking yourself and you're being destructive to try to numb out that negative feeling that you've got. So for instance, men in relationships, when they feel very disconnected to their wife and their families, they turn to pornography and masturbation. Or they turn to drugs or alcohol. Or they turn to overworking.
Yeah,
right?
It's like, I think we misuse our intelligence. You know, we got this higher consciousness, higher than animals, and intelligence, and sometimes it's a lot for us if we don't know where to put it, so we can go the other way, you know, like, because even animals with sex desire, most species, they're regulated, you know, they only have sex in mating season or when it's heat, you know, they don't do it all year round like us every day. Most species don't just start touching themselves and stuff. So it's like we're supposed to be more advanced, but if we misuse our intelligence, then we go the other way and we become more degraded, like less advanced than animals. Because animals, they live in harmony with nature, they're regulated at what they're supposed to do. We're just like, if we misuse it, we go the opposite way, just complete madness, you know. But if we use it in the right way, then we can transcend that animal level of living.
That's why so many people now, they envy animals. Like they're like, oh,
Yeah.
I wish I
Oh,
could just be
yeah.
an
So
animal, you
stupid.
know? It just
I just want to be a cat. You just get to lie around all day. It's like people desiring to go down the food chain to like lower species just so they don't have this stress of using your intelligence.
yeah, totally. Yeah. I wish I could be the cat. I could just sleep all day and I could just, right? That's because your mind is in a place of such turbulence that you wish your desires to degrade
Yeah,
down, to
again, it's
take away this
suppressing desire.
responsibility of
Yeah,
intelligence is basically what you're
yeah,
saying, right?
yeah.
And just let nature regulate me, which is that's like a karmic. Anyways, this kind of going into a bit of a deeper discussion, but basically what an animal is regulated by nature. So we could say that God or nature does the intelligent work of an animal. So an animal doesn't have to think, okay, should I sleep now? He doesn't have that choice. Like I live with two cats. They're regulated, right? Like get up, go shit, go, go eat, fight each other because there's two of them. They fight each other to get that energy out. Get into the bed, sleep, do it over again. It's the same routine, right? And so they're regulated with a little bit of leeway, right? Depending on how much leeway we give them or not, right? So that they're very regulated by nature's design. As human beings, we have more freedom than that. But when we misuse that freedom, it creates suffering. When we don't regulate ourselves, we then suffer. And then we become sick, disease, dis-ease. We're no longer at ease, like an animal.
Yeah.
It's why we love the animals. It's why we have this sometimes envy to animals, because we're like, oh, yeah, man.
Don't worry.
They're not worried. Yeah, they're not worried. Well, you shouldn't be worried either, right? Like you're a higher intelligent species than an animal, right?
Yeah.
You also shouldn't be worried. If you're worried, it's because you've misused your intelligence, or you've been conditioned to misuse your intelligence, and now you're full of fear, and now you're full of worry, and now you're full of anxiety.
Well, you're in survival
So
for too much of the day. You know, animals, they're only in
that's right.
survival if there's an emergency, if they're being attacked. You know, they do feel fear, but it's just for that moment, and then they go back to sleeping or whatever. They're not like worrying about, remember 2 weeks ago when I got attacked, will it happen now? You know, but we're like putting ourselves in that state constantly, and not even about things like being attacked, just about things, I don't know, like my bills due, or like, you know, any even less things than that we don't need to worry about. Just sitting there worrying about like unnecessary things, like putting ourselves in survival like all the time. That's why our bodies are at disease.
Yeah, just the most insignificant things we can worry about, oh, there's some whatever, some nonsense going on, how many people are anxiety right now about whether their team is going to win the World Cup or not?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. It's supposed to be something enjoyable, and they go to this thing and they're just full of anxiety the whole time. Like,
yeah. Or you see the guys who like end up like fighting and getting into jail and stuff because they can't regulate themselves at the World Cup.
Yeah.
I think it's funny personally, right? So they banned alcohol at the you can't buy alcohol at the stadiums, right? And of course, people are making a big stink about it, blah blah blah. And I'm like, is this really what's occupying your mind? Whether you can drink alcohol or not at a stadium? When you actually really pull back and you start flying at that higher level of consciousness, and you really start to look at the world, you'll start to see how insane it is, and how our values are so like twisted that we make the biggest deal out of something that's actually quite insignificant in our lives. And because of that, we then we have these strange desires where we're literally desiring to degrade to lower ourselves into the lower species. Please, I just want to be like the monkey, because the monkey seems free, because the monkey has no worries, and you're sitting there suffering. So the monkey seems like a better position than you. But the monkey is not in a better position than you. The monkey has no freedom. The monkey has no self-expression. The monkey can't create a business. The monkey can't create art. The monkey can't create civilizations. The monkey doesn't have the beauty or the qualities in which you have. So the only reason that you would desire to be like an animal is because you're misusing your desire. So how to transmute this desire? Well, first of all, join the Sexual Alchemy program, because that's really where you're going to get the techniques. But I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you the process. But the answer is to join the program, because the program is going to take you through the process I'm going to describe here step by step. But here it is at a high level. All right. The first thing is actually increase desire. So not get rid of desire, increase your desire by practice of semen retention. So no FAP, semen retention. Stop pornography, stop masturbating, and learn to increase your desire. Because what happens is sexual energy builds. Think of a volcano that's building and it's building and it's building, right? If I did this for long enough, eventually there would be so much heat in my hands, right, that I could literally touch you and warm you up. So what you want to do is start to increase friction and increase your desire. All right. Now, what's going to happen, and this is going to answer your question, Mega Batman. What's going to happen is when you increase desire, and here's why 99% of guys fail on no FAP and semen retention, because the first thing that's going to happen is desire will increase, and then they're going to get lusty. And lust, when it's unchecked, turns into frustration and anger. And anger eventually turns into a whole bunch of bad shit, including disease. You can pretty much link disease and lust together. So when you find that your desire is increasing, now you have enough energy to actually start to transmute it. That's why you have to increase it first, because you actually have to have something to work with. Go back to the original definition of an alchemist, someone who's turning metal into gold. What does he need first? Metal. The first thing you actually need is desire. Now, what's going to happen, and this desire is going to start to reveal to you your unconscious or subconscious state. So the frustration, the anger, the lust, the jealousy, the envy, the all this negative self-image and self-talk, it's all gonna heighten on semen retention. That's why guys hate it. They're like, I can't do this. I need to go bust a nut. I can't stop thinking about sex. I can't stop thinking about how angry I am. Why do I feel pissed off all the time? Why do I feel so envious? Why do I hate myself more? It's not more. It's just always been there. Now, semen retention is literally pushing it up. It's making the unconscious conscious. That's why you should do this under the guidance of somebody who's gone through the process, because you will generally fail if you don't. Then what happens is, so now all your bullshit's coming up. Great. Then the second step in the process, because your desire is increasing, is to learn to take that desire, like the traditional alchemist, and turn it into gold. Now we're going to take all that nastiness, all that self-hate, all that self-destruction, all that pain, all that anger, all that frustration, and you're going to learn to transmute it. You're going to learn to pull it up through the body, clear the body out. Of the first 2 to 3 weeks of the entire sexual alchemy course is simply clearing your body of negative shit, so that when you start to inject high sexual vibrant energy, it's going to be nothing but love and positivity oozing from you. So what's going to happen is you're going to learn to circulate that energy through the microcosmic orbit, and you're going to learn to connect your balls to your brain, your bowels to your heart, and in your heart, it's going to alchemize it. Your heart is the seat of the soul.
You could say chestnuts.
Your chestnuts, yes. Like you're going to go from your bottom nuts to your chestnuts, and you're going to alchemize that energy. And it's going to, and you're literally going to feel the difference where all of a sudden that same lust, that same, I want to run around and bang everything that walks, that hole in the wall's looking good right now, right? You're going to transmute that to, man, I really want to just hug you. I really want to just love you. Let's hang out together. You know, let's just talk. Let's connect.
Imagine what you could do with all that energy that you have with trying to get sex. You know, imagine if you just moved it somewhere else, what you could do with it in your life.
Man.
Ooh.
Ooh. And this is the third part. And this is what you learn in the week 6 of the course, is you learn to then focus your thoughts, because for 5 weeks, you're developing such heightened awareness that you're going to be able to focus your thoughts. And so from the heart, then we travel up to the brain. So now you have the emotion. The dominant emotion is not lust, it's love. Now take love and dovetail it with your needs of life or your goals. Now you start to, your brain will start to vibrate on a higher level, and you'll start to pick up thoughts. Oh, this is how I can grow. Now I'm not asking for minimum wage jobs anymore. Now I'm going, how do I generate $1 million a year? And because you're thinking about $1 million a year, you're going to start to attract the thoughts and the people to get to that level. You're no longer going to be like, how do I just not feel shitty anymore? To going, how do I feel amazing? How do I feel vibrant? How do I become the best version of myself? You go from, oh, I just really want to feel peaceful, like that's why you desire to be like the animal, right? Like, oh, I just want to be free like the monkey. I don't want to worry anymore. To how do I create my heaven on earth? Right? Bold thinking, bold thoughts. If God can create universes and planets and stars in the cosmos, what's to you to create $1 million a year, or to create a piece of land with your dream? Like, it's nothing when you're in God consciousness. It seems so insignificant compared to what God's doing, that you will think of your own desires as laughable. But right now, most people see that as unreachable, because they're not vibrating on that high plane yet. Yeah,
and you think you're the doer. You think,
that's right.
So much effort to do all this, because you're not connected and seeing where it's really coming from.
Yeah, see, once you're connected in that higher spiritual consciousness, you'll recognize it's not by your effort that these things are going to get done. That's the foolish person. You think by your effort these things are going to come into play. No, it's, what does the Bible say? And God's will be done. Thy will be done. It's by your will connected with God's will. And your will, your only thing you have power over is yourself. So therefore, the only proper place to use your willpower is within yourself. So I'm going to go over those 3 steps, break it down simply. Number 1, increase your desire by the practice of semen retention and no fat. Meaning, if you're still jerking off every day, or even a few times a week, if you're still busting a nut, if you're busting a nut more than a few times a week, if you're not at least going 7 to 14 days, then you don't have enough desire within you. You don't have enough vibrational frequency, creative energy to hit those higher planes. So you absolutely need to go join the program. Like, to me, there's no option. You got to go get involved. Then once you can do that, then you're going to learn to run this energy up through the body. First of all, putting you back into physical health, because nothing happens without physical health. So getting your organs cleared out of the negativity, getting the energetic blocks released, doing the tough work, dealing with your lust, dealing with your anger, dealing with your frustrations, so that you can get connected again, so you feel like a kid again. Like Jesus said, find the childlike spirit. There's no childlike spirit when you're full of worry and anxiety, and you can't think of anything because all you want to do is do nothing because you're so exhausted from all your worry and anxiety, right?
Mm-hmm.
A child wants to do everything. You tell a child, hey, we're going to go wash the dishes. The child's like, oh, I'm washing the dishes. All right. Because he's excited to feel the water and feel we're going to a party. A child wants to go to the party. A child wants to do. I look at my little nephew. He wants to do more than any of us can do. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's got so much energy because he hasn't been thwarted by the world's frustrations yet. Right.
Mm-hmm.
We need to reignite that spirit by getting into a space where we are free, desireless, not free from desire, but we are not desiring anything from an egoistic standpoint.
Mm.
There's an innocence about your desire, right? The child wants to go to the party, but the adult generally wants to go to the party not for the same reason. The child wants to go to the party because he's excited to experience the party. The adult wants to go to the party so they can show off and have some egotistical thing, or that they can exploit somebody in some way by getting laid, or have some status, or you see there's some ego. That's why the party's never fulfilling. That's why they got to get drunk and all that stuff, because just to dull that ego and let loose a little bit, they got to have a few drinks so that parts of them get suppressed for a little bit. And then the third aspect is then controlling the desire through controlling your thoughts. Thought control or mind control, when you're controlling your mind, now connects balls, heart, and brain. When the energy travels from the lower regions, from your balls to your heart, then to your brain, you will notice that your ability to, first of all, see what is actually good for you and what is not will heighten. And 95% of your activities will stop. We call that cessation of karma action, right? Why will it stop? Because you'll be like, this is just stupid. You're like, why would I do that? Why would I go here and go there and do this and do that and do there and there and there? Recognizing all of that was just coming from unsatisfied desire. But when you feel satisfied, 90% of your activities, your wasteful activities, stop. You know, I was thinking about how much garbage we produce.
Yeah.
You know, like as a society, right? Like as individuals, you'll notice that the simpler you get, the less garbage you produce and the less impact you'll be having on negative impact you'll have on the environment.
Yeah.
Think about how much garbage we produce from candy wrappers.
Yeah.
So what if you didn't eat candy anymore? Think about the trigger or karmic effect of that.
Yeah.
Well, now you're also not contributing to the sugar addictions in the world. You've released yourself of that karma. You've released yourself of the karma of Skittles and of that, right? You've also released yourself of the karma of all the garbage and waste you're producing. We produce so much crap because of unchecked desire. And by the way, corporations and big psychologists, they know this. That's why they continuously feed on your desires. That's why almost every single ad on television is based on one of three things. Get laid, get this perfume, look sexier, get this bra, look sexier, get this body, look sexier, get this, right? It's all based upon that.
Mm-hmm.
Then the second thing is food, right?
Yeah.
Here's a burger.
Enjoy.
Go eat this burger. Go enjoy this food. Go enjoy this thing. You're sitting there watching TV. Desires increasing. Now Burger King's got an ad for their new Whopper and KFC's crispy chicken and, you know, blah, blah, blah. It's all desire, right? Or fear. Pharmaceutical. You might possibly have this disease. Go get this drug. You might possibly have this disease. Go get this drug. All implanting it into your conscious. And here's what they know, because here's what all mystics know. And believe me, it's mystics that run the world. And mystic doesn't mean a good. It's not necessarily a good or bad. But here's what every mystic knows, whether they're good or bad, whether they're working for their own interests or the interests of the whole.
Yeah.
They know that the secret is your subconscious mind. They know that the secret is to get into your subconscious mind and to implant ideas. So what the big pharma is doing, big pharma are mystics. They just know that they want to implant your subconscious mind with the thoughts of disease, so that you're so scared of disease that you consistently think about it and therefore continuously attract it and project it into the world. The food mystics, they know that one of your basic desires is to eat, so they're constantly pushing you with overconsumption, salts, sugars, things that create more desire. When you eat, shouldn't you feel satisfied?
Yeah.
That's how you know you've ate good food. You know when you've ate good food because once you're done eating, you're like, I'm good. I don't want to eat no more. If you're eating and 15 minutes later you feel like you need to eat more, that's a good chance that there's the hint that you haven't ate good food.
Yeah.
Same with sex. Good sex is actually satisfying. Bad sex means you desire it more and more.
That's true.
But in lower and lower degrading.
Yeah, it never gets fulfilled. You think, oh, this is going to be great. My fantasy will be fulfilled. Then you do it and you're like, oh, man, I need to try it again. And I got to...
That's right.
It just goes on and on.
That's right. So here's what we're doing. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. By the way, the channel is really starting to pick up momentum. We've added more subscribers in the last few days than in a while. So I want to thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So no matter where you're watching this, YouTube, please subscribe if you're on YouTube, but make sure you get notified if you're on Facebook or if you're on Twitter. Share this video out. This is the type of information that will truly change the world. You know, it's not the politicians. I ran in politics. I was involved there for a number of years thinking I'm going to make a difference there. There's no difference that's going to be made there, because even those politicians are so full of in the mode of ignorance that they can't even see what to do properly anyways. They're all just fighting for their own sense gratification. They're not really looking after the whole. And you know how you would know if they're looking after the whole? They would start to implement policies that actually help you. They wouldn't be pushing an agenda of big pharma. They would be pushing an agenda of wellness. That's how you know. It's simple. The day that I hear a politician talking about wellness, I'll vote for them. But as long as they're talking about wars and fighting, then all they're looking for is for sense gratification. Have the discrimination, have the knowledge to understand this. Thank you, Mohammed. We also hope to reach 1 million soon. Keep praying about it. Keep thinking about it. Just by your intention, by your will, hoping that this channel reaches more people, it will be done. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Go right now. You've got today and tomorrow to join the Sexual Alchemy program. The Sexual Alchemy program is right now on sale for 70% off because we're doing the Black Friday thing. All right, to take advantage of that. So go do it. You can simply go to the descriptions and there's the actual URL, but the link is in the description on my YouTube channel. The code is Black Friday 2022. It's right on the registration page. Go register. One-time investment. You've got the program for life. You've got the WhatsApp group. You've got everything you need to transmute your sexual energy, protect yourself from the bullshit of this world, and really live a joyful, loving, awesome life. Join this few that are smart enough to reject this modern world and really up-level your consciousness. Because when you up-level your consciousness, your material stuff will be taken care of. If you want to live worry-free and you don't want to be worried about money and you don't want to be arguing about small bullshit in your life anymore, you're done with that, then you have to transmute the lower stuff. And if you want to experience higher pleasures in life and really experience life and all of the gifts that it means to be a human being, stop wasting your human life on bullshit and start really experiencing the higher creative aspects of this world, then you have to transmute your sexual energy. And that's what this course is going to tell you to do and show you to do and train you to do. Any final words?
I've been trying to do it, and I really recommend the course. It's been changing my life so much and helping me. And even this conversation is giving me, like, you know, because I've been increasing awareness. So even more is coming to me of what I need to work on next. And I know I have the tools from this program to do it. So yeah, I really would recommend it. And thanks for tuning in, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll see you next week, same time, same place. And I'm assuming we'll all see you inside of our WhatsApp support groups, because you are now sexual alchemists.
Yeah.
Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain. If you don't know, feel that energy flow right into your brain. Your whole game will change. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Soldiers retain. Real strong men are self-control. Their info is plain.